Fairfield 911, where's your emergency?
My fiance is missing.
Me and John are making a video.
I'm really freaking out.
What happened when investigators arrived at her home?
There's nothing missing besides Caitlin. You had that gut feeling, something's wrong here.
Her wallet and her car keys were laying on her bed. Things weren't adding up.
It's like she's there 1 minute, gone the next.
Each day that went by, I knew this was not going to be a good outcome.
It was an extensive search. A girl disappearing for no reason. That doesn't happen in Fairfield. They wanted answers.
I called the investigation supervisor and I said, I honestly don't believe this girl's coming home alive.
A gentleman searching a creek line comes across the bag. He opens the bag and there's a skull in it.
It was Caitlin Markham. It was heartbreaking. It really was.
There were 2 police officers and a pastor who told me. I just broke down.
What did you realistically think were the chances of solving this case?
I knew we'd find something. That's what my job is to keep digging. You need to understand something. I don't miss. But if it is you, I'm coming.
I'm Paula Zahn, and tonight we're on the case in Fairfield, Ohio. The quaint suburb about 25 miles outside of Cincinnati became the unlikely backdrop for a terrifying mystery when 21-year-old Caitlin Markham was reported missing from her home. As police scoured the area for clues that might explain her disappearance, it slowly became clear that the best evidence of what really happened to Caitlin had vanished along with her. August 14th, 2011. It was just after 8 on a warm Sunday night when Fairfield police got an unusual 911 call.
Fairfield 911, where's your emergency?
Hi, my name is John Carter. My fiance is missing. I can't find her anywhere.
What's her name?
Caitlin Helene Markham.
The dispatcher tried to determine just how serious the situation actually was.
Where'd you see her last?
I saw her at like 12 o'clock last night. She was at her house. She was going to bed. I'm really nervous.
Then John explained that none of the couple's friends nor family had heard from Caitlin all day. But it was what he saw when he checked her townhouse that triggered his call to police.
And I decided to go by her house. The car is still there. Her purse is still there. The only thing that's not there is her cell phone, but she's not answering it, which is why I'm like really freaking out.
We'll have somebody come out and speak with you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Senior Officer Sandy Sears responded to the address John had provided. Take me back to the first call you took about this case. What happened?
The dispatcher was very concerned that there were some red flags. I told her that I would take the call myself.
What happened when you got to her townhouse?
I was met by John Carter and Caitlin Markham's father, David. I asked them to take me inside and walk me through.
Officer Sears carefully surveyed the scene.
Nothing's missing, nothing's been stolen, there was no forced entry.
Still, Officer Sears did observe a few things that seemed odd.
There was a coffee table pushed up against the couch in the living room. And in her bedroom, there was some supplies knocked over on her desk. That gave me a little bit of concern.
Was there enough out of place that you thought a struggle might have taken place there?
Not at that point, but her wallet and her car keys were laying on her bed. And I went through the wallet. She had $300 in cash. She had her debit credit card in there and her driver's license. And her shoes were there. I became very suspicious. Things weren't adding up for me.
Although there was no obvious sign of foul play, DA investigator Paul Newton believed that Officer Sears was reading the scene correctly. Is it possible that she had just wanted to disappear for a while?
Her car's there, no purse, no wallet, no money. She's not going far. And none of her friends know where she's at. And I know this officer. Went to the police academy with her. She's very experienced. She doesn't get shook real easy. You had that gut feeling, something's wrong here.
And following that gut feeling led Officer Sears to take additional precautions.
At this point, I'm calling the dispatcher and I'm asking her to have Caitlin's cell phone pinged.
While she waited for those results, Officer Sears asked Dave Markham what he knew about his daughter's disappearance. How did you find out something was wrong?
I got a phone call from John. He was at the townhouse. He said that Caitlin's missing. She's gone. I can't find her anywhere.
When was the last time you had spoken with her?
That was just a few days before, by a text. She had said that there was a UPS package for me, and that was it. I still have that text message.
Officer Sears then spoke with Caitlin's fiancé to get more information about the last time he had seen her. What was known about her timeline that night?
She's home that evening, and she's hanging out with John Carter, her fiancé.
Now it's recording.
Around 9:30 that night, a friend of Caitlin's, a Brad Von Bargen, shows up. They watched some TV show. Brad leaves around 10:45, and John leaves shortly after Brad does.
Did he speak with her again later that night?
John said that he received some text messages shortly after 11, ending around 11:36 p.m., but he did not talk to Caitlin no more that night.
And the evidence pointing to a problem continued to mount with a call to Caitlin's work.
I spoke to the manager of the bridal shop, and she told me that Caitlin had never no called, no showed, ever. And today, she did no call, no show. They were very worried about her.
Was she someone who was disciplined and dedicated to her job?
Yes, always punctual, never missed a shift.
Officer Sears was still trying to piece together the puzzling clues when a call from her dispatcher suddenly forced her to view all the evidence through a new lens.
The ping on the cell phone showed that shortly after midnight, the cell phone was turned off, the battery removed, and the SIM card removed.
They can actually tell that through their analysis?
Yes, ma'am. And that is one of the first times that I've had them say that in my career.
What point did Caitlin's phone go dark?
At 12:06 a.m., August the 14th.
The timing was troubling. Caitlin's phone had been disabled just a half hour after her last text to John. What did you make of that?
Just with the totality of the circumstances, honestly, I felt like there was some foul play here.
Officer Sears was instructed to bring anyone who might have information about Caitlin to the police station.
I separated everybody into different rooms and waited for the detectives. I had Dave Markham out in a community area, and he looked up at me and he said, "Is this all really necessary?" I said, "Yes, it is, sir." And he just broke down and started crying.
And Officer Sears feared there was more heartbreak ahead.
I called the investigation supervisor and I said, "Look, sir, I honestly don't believe this girl's coming home alive."
As police investigating the disappearance of Caitlin Markham contemplated the evidence, the only thing that seemed clear was the window of time when the mystery began. How small of a time window are we talking about?
We're talking about a very short period of time, 30 minutes. And her friends are saying she's not going to open the door for just anybody, especially at time of night. No forced entry, phone's gone. There was something going on that night. Something they didn't know.
Police believed the first step was to find out more about Caitlin's lifestyle.
Hi, this is Caitlin Markham. This is my very professional webpage. I hope you enjoy it because I enjoyed making it and I love you.
Her father, Dave, filled in a lot of details. What was she like?
Caitlin was very bubbly, outgoing her entire life, made friends wherever we went. She never wanted to see anybody upset or hurt. She always wanted somebody to leave her presence happy.
That kind-hearted spirit radiated through everything Caitlin did, especially in the main focus of her life, her artwork. Could you tell that she had artistic talent at an early age?
A very early age, yeah. She always had crayons or pencils or markers and sketchbooks. That was the passion of hers. She wanted to go to a trade school, some kind of commercial arts. She enrolled and was accepted. That's when it just took off. The sky was the limit.
This is a video. Me and John are making a video.
Caitlin also seemed settled in her personal life. She and her fiancé, John Carter, had been together for 6 years. Friends painted a vivid portrait for investigators. How did her friends characterize her relationship with her fiancé, John Carter?
In the eyes of everybody, they were the perfect couple. Very happy couple.
Despite all the glowing stories about the newly engaged couple, police were still focused on the fact that John was the last person to see Caitlin. They needed to know every detail of their final evening together.
Did you think anything was wrong Saturday night?
I remember her sitting there working on her final while Brad was there. She wasn't very talkative or anything, but that wasn't out of the ordinary. Whenever she had a big project, I knew to just stay out of her way. So let her do her homework, let her get all of her stuff done, and when it's over, she'll be happy.
John said when he left Caitlin, she was getting ready for bed.
When you left Caitlin's house on Saturday, do you remember seeing where her car was?
It was parked where it's usually parked, right across from her doorway.
John then went to meet up with some friends. Was anybody able to verify he actually went to his friend's house after he left Caitlin's that night?
Absolutely. 5 people there. He's there approximately until 1:15 to 1:20 in the morning, and then he goes home.
John said it was still several hours before he called it a night.
He watches 3 episodes of the show White Collar, and he says he goes to bed shortly after 4 o'clock in the morning.
Before closing his eyes, John completed a nightly ritual.
John says he sent Caitlin a text message at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was good morning, love you.
John expected to see Caitlin's response when he woke up 12 hours later.
He didn't get up till 4:30 that day to go to work. When he sees that Caitlin has not contacted him, he's getting concerned.
John tried calling Caitlin several times and texted her, and when she didn't respond, he decided to go to her townhouse.
I was coming down the hill in front of her apartment, and I saw her car in between. I was like, oh, her car's here. She should be at work. Her car was still there.
John entered the townhouse, and his anxiety grew.
All I really remember is being panicked. As I'm calling her name, everything just starts to, freak me out. And all I'm thinking about is, what do I need to do? She's gone. She's not at her house. She's not anywhere.
Police still wanted to further verify John's timeline, but his account seemed solid. And he and Caitlin's other friends pointed the investigation in another direction. They believe the huge festival across the street from Caitlin's home played a role in her disappearance.
They wanted to direct my attention towards the people that were working at the carnival.
The idea seemed to make sense.
That festival is a huge draw. They pack that place. And most of the time, the carnival workers are from out of town, especially the ride workers. They are very transient type people.
Did you think it was possible that someone who either worked at the festival or attended the festival could have had something to do with Caitlin's disappearance?
I wasn't willing to rule out anything.
Law enforcement was still looking for a lead that might explain the disappearance of Caitlin Markham. They were confident something had happened to her during the half hour before her cell phone suddenly went dark at 12:06 a.m. Did they investigate any possible criminal activity in the area?
Yes, the Sacred Heart Festival was occurring down the street.
You know, there are some unsavory characters over at this fair. Maybe those people at the carnival were involved in her disappearance.
Detectives compiled a list of festival employees with criminal backgrounds. Each was eliminated using the narrow timeline of Caitlin's disappearance. The festival appeared to be a dead end. Who else did they end up looking into?
There was acquaintance out of Caitlin's school who had been named as being creepy around Caitlin. He had had some criminal history in his past.
Could they establish where he was the night she went missing?
Fairfield Police Department established where he was at, and he had nothing to do with this. "72 hours after Caitlin's disappearance, police still had no physical evidence that foul play was even involved. There's nothing missing besides Caitlin and her cell phone. No blood, no acts of violence. It's like she's there 1 minute, gone the next.
Police reached out to the public for help, and the community answered their call. Describe some of the searches that took place.
They searched the whole general area. It was an extensive search. It was unbelievable. People were coming out with their ATVs, and they're coming out with their dogs. They wanted answers, because disappearing for no reason, that doesn't happen in Fairfield.
The show of support comforted Caitlin's family during their darkest hours.
The community came together for Caitlin. It's very humbling. People that have never met Caitlin followed this case, poured their hearts out. It's a very surreal feeling.
But the massive searches uncovered nothing of value, and over time, the investigation slowly ground to a halt. As the weeks turned into months, did you try to maintain hope?
Yes, but each day that went by, it just, it was less and less. I knew that this was not going to be a good outcome. This was not going to be what any of us wanted.
Meanwhile, police were still waiting for the evidence that would jumpstart the investigation. And more than a year after Caitlin's disappearance, they got it in the worst way possible. Police finally got a break in the case. How did that come about?
A gentleman in Franklin, Indiana, searching a creek line for cans, come across a little area where some people had done some dumping.
The man saw a small bag, and he opened it.
He opens the bag, and there's a skull in it.
Terrified, the man dropped the bag and ran to notify police.
He calls 911, and the Indiana State Police and the local sheriff's office show up.
What did the Indiana State Police do when they arrived at the scene?
They could tell it was a female. So they got their phones out and started looking for people who had disappeared in the area. And the first photograph they pull up was Caitlin Markham.
And a detail in the photos they saw inside of Caitlin's missing person file led first responders to suspect she was the victim they had found.
Caitlin had a pronounced tooth, and from that, they were pretty sure it was going to be Caitlin. They called Fairfield right away. We think we found your missing person.
Dental records confirmed their hunch. It was a devastating blow for everyone who had been relentlessly searching for the young woman. The Caitlin Markham missing persons case had just become a homicide investigation.
I felt angry. She lived a low-risk lifestyle. She worked 2 jobs and went to school. And no one can tell me why she's dead.
There were 2 police officers and a pastor who came to the door and told me I just broke down.
Seeing Caitlin's devastated loved ones motivated detectives to provide answers. They were desperate to know why Caitlin had been killed and by whom. But it quickly became clear that even getting the how would be challenging. Was the medical examiner able to determine how she died?
No, the cause of death was unknown, but they did rule it a homicide.
Was there anything that they were able to learn from the autopsy?
They found cut marks on her left wrist. Looked like post-mortem. Someone had tried to cut off her hand. Some bones had been cut by something sharp.
Investigators hope that the material her remains were wrapped in would provide them with a clue about the suspect. Was there something distinctive about the way the body had been wrapped?
Her head had been wrapped in a plastic grocery bag, and her body had been wrapped in a plastic tarp.
And what was your theory about why the killer would have wrapped the body that way?
My theory was that someone knew who she was, and they didn't want to see Caitlin's face no more. That's my theory.
Police had no physical evidence that linked Caitlin Markham to her killer. But they did discover an intriguing clue as they looked at a map between her home and where her body had been found. Was there anything investigators could glean from that location?
Yes. They found out really quickly that the location of her body was in direct route to John Carter's father's farm.
That potential link sent investigators back to where they started, Caitlin's fiancé, John Carter.
Come on in, over here. I got you a chair right over there.
This time, the Indiana State Police handled the interview.
Are you familiar with the area where they found her?
My dad has property in Laurel. I've driven up there a handful of times.
Have you been over to where she was found?
No, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to that place and be like, oh, this is where she died.
Although police remained skeptical, John's alibi was airtight. He had witnesses and computer logs that backed up his account. It seemed their new lead was just another dead end.
If you guys want to go through anything, if you need anything else, I'll give you whatever you need.
Following that interview, the investigation was at a standstill. The case was in danger of going cold when details of a strikingly similar attack popped up on detectives' radar.
A young lady had went missing. Her body had been located, and her head had been wrapped. Her body had been wrapped, and her body had been placed near a creek bed in Butler County.
And there was more that appeared to link the murder of Ellie White to Caitlin Markham's. Did the victims resemble each other?
Yes, it was uncanny how they looked alike. They could have been twins.
In fact, the two crimes could have been mirror images of one another. But the White investigation had one major difference. This time, police had identified the man responsible.
And it was a gentleman by the name of Michael Strauss. And Mr. Strauss was found guilty of the killing of Ellie Week, and we were trying to connect the two homicides together.
And police quickly found links.
Strauss had a connection to Indiana. His grandmother lives an hour north of where Caitlin was found.
The investigation into Strauss shifted into high gear after an anonymous tip appeared to directly tie the convicted killer to Caitlin Markham.
There was a photograph of Michael Strauss and John Carter at this party. So now they're saying, okay, these two guys are connected somehow. Was it a possibility that Michael Strauss knew John and knew Caitlin? I asked the question, well, how about we go talk to Michael Strauss? And we interviewed him in the prosecutor's office.
In the interrogation room, investigator Newton explained to Strauss why he was being questioned.
I slid a news article over to him. I said, I want you to read that, please. And I said, now you see why you're here.
Then investigator Newton showed Strauss the photograph that connected him to Caitlin Markham.
And he says, I knew him from parties coming and going. I didn't know her. I never met her.
When Strauss denied any role in Caitlin's disappearance or murder, police asked him to take a polygraph exam.
The polygraph come back inconclusive. So I went to the Westchester Police Department and asked to look at the Michael Strauss case. What am I missing? What is someone else missing? So I did a search warrant on him. Let me do a deep dive into Michael Strauss.
That deep dive led police to pore over Strauss's online history, including Facebook pictures and messages. And shockingly, the time-consuming effort paid off.
I find a conversation that Michael Strauss is having about, hey, I had a great time last night at the party.
Investigator Newton was stunned. The party took place the night Caitlin Markham disappeared. And there was more.
We find a photograph of a gentleman with a lampshade on his head at this party. And right next to him, you see someone's face. It's Michael Strauss.
The picture taken of Strauss gave him a solid alibi during the time that Caitlin was killed. Strauss was there that night, and there is no way he could have killed Caitlin.
Yes, he had nothing to do with this.
The original picture of Strauss and John Carter was nothing more than a coincidence.
Michael Strauss, he may be a serial killer. He may be. But I don't think he had anything to do with Caitlin.
Instead of feeling defeated, investigator Newton was more determined than ever. He decided to start the entire Markham investigation over from the beginning. And his unrelenting search for the truth would ultimately put Caitlin's killer directly in his crosshairs.
You need to understand something. I don't miss. If it is you, I'm coming.
It had been more than 6 years since Caitlin Markham had been murdered. But District Attorney Mike Mosier and his investigator Paul Newton believed that every clue had to be reviewed with a fresh eye. Did you have any expectations of the case being solved when you committed to it?
I felt that we were the last stop. If we didn't solve this case, it was never going to get solved.
Everyone is a person of interest until I've ruled you out.
Investigator Newton believed that meant re-interviewing everyone, starting with those closest to Caitlin. And the passage of time had changed some of their views. Did any of Caitlin's friends have new information for you?
We found out that the relationship between John and Caitlin wasn't quite as smooth as it was made out to be. John, he's kind of controlling. John's jealous. Caitlin was confiding in some of these people, I'm not sure we're going to be getting married. That's the first time we had heard that.
But perhaps the most important new details were found buried inside the massive case file. A report that had been taken just days after Caitlin's body was discovered.
Paul Newton, said, "Hey, what's this about these boys in the bushes here that saw Carter come home that night at about 2 o'clock in the morning?"
The tip had come from two teenagers who had snuck out of the house late on the night Caitlin disappeared. They said that while they were waiting for their ride, they heard a car approaching from the opposite direction.
They think it's going to be Fairfield Police Department, so they hide behind a big, huge evergreen.
But it wasn't a police car. It was John Carter returning home.
These boys saw Carter go into his garage. 10 minutes later, he comes out and drives away. And as he's leaving, he leaves with his lights off.
The information was stunning. In every one of his interviews, Carter had told police that he had arrived home at 1:30 in the morning and hadn't gone out again until 4:30 the next day. But police now had two witnesses who said they saw him leave his home after 2 a.m.
I said to Paul, those boys are not lying. That's the key in this case.
Those interviews punched a hole in John Carter's alibi. How did that alter your investigation?
Just the timeline of when she's being murdered. And at that point in time, it's game on.
Police went to work searching for additional cracks in Carter's alibi. Carter claimed after he got home, he spent the next few hours watching his favorite show on his computer.
One of my investigators reviewed that computer. And what does he find? He finds that 4:30 in the morning, Carter is looking for the synopsises of the program.
Police believe it was evidence that Carter had never actually viewed the episodes he downloaded.
He watched them. Why is he reading the synopsis?
So was it your belief that he never watched the show that night because he was disposing of Caitlin's body at that time?
Absolutely.
Prosecutors believe they had a strong circumstantial case. They presented their potential motive, the links to the crime scene, and the evidence of Carter's shattered alibi to a grand jury. When they were done, they confronted John Carter with its findings.
This is what we call the end game. And the grand jury has indicted you.
Why? For what?
Murder.
Okay, but what evidence? There's nothing.
This is where you need to come clean with what everything happened that night.
I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened. I'm gonna need to get my lawyer.
Yes. Okay.
John Carter was arrested for Caitlin Markham's murder on March 22nd, 2023. Many wondered if the evidence police had collected would be enough to get a conviction. At that point, did you have anything beyond circumstantial evidence?
No. I knew we'd find something. If you dig hard enough, you will find it.
With Carter behind bars, police continued to build their case.
Prior to trial, we go back to interview individuals who live next door to Caitlin.
And one of them had a disturbing story to tell.
They recall that date very well because it was their anniversary, and she dozes off around 10 o'clock at night.
Sometime after 11 p.m., a loud noise woke her up.
She hears a loud thump, and she hears yelling from a female, "Stop it! Stop it!" And she hears another thump.
Wasn't she concerned when she heard that?
She was. When I interviewed her, she breaks down.
Then the young woman explained why she had held on to this terrible secret for so long.
I said, "Why didn't you report this?" She goes, "I didn't want to think that I heard someone being murdered, especially Caitlin."
Police believed it was the final piece of the puzzle.
That was a revelation of like, okay, now we've got him. Now we've got him.
District Attorney Mike Mosier wasn't as certain. He still had to prove to the jury that John Carter was the only one with the motive and the opportunity to murder Caitlin.
Caitlin was getting cold feet. She wanted out, and she ended up dead. I think it was probably as simple as that.
Prosecutors wanted to present evidence that after killing Caitlin, Carter methodically planned his alibi. He visited a friend's house, destroyed her phone, went home to turn on his computer, and then made the 30-mile drive to Indiana to get rid of Caitlin's body. But no matter how convincing that story was, there were still huge hurdles to clear.
There was no DNA evidence. There's nothing directly pointing to John, and John knew that.
The defense always claims that circumstantial evidence is nothing more than a coincidence. But when all of the circumstances can be put together, it can become a very powerful indictment with respect to guilt.
John Carter and his attorney were clearly worried about who the jury would believe. Just before the trial, they asked the district attorney for a meeting. Carter's attorney approached you with a deal. How did you weigh his offer?
I wanted acceptance of responsibility and accountability. One way or another, John Carter needed to admit that he killed this girl. At the end of the relationship caused his anger, and bad things happened. He was responsible. It needed to have closure in that way.
District Attorney Mosier got his confession. John Carter admitted he killed Caitlin. But the price was shocking. Carter would plead guilty to the charge of involuntary manslaughter and face a prison sentence of just 3 years.
While the general public might say, well, only 3 years, how can that be justice? Well, justice has to be decided on issues of what the truth is. And we didn't have the truth until he agreed to take the deal. Then we had the truth.
For Dave Markham, the outcome brought a wave of mixed emotions. When Mike Mosier approached you with the possibility of a plea deal, were you on board?
I was on board. I wasn't happy with it, but I did not want a hung jury or a mistrial. He could have walked and gotten absolutely nothing. So I'm happy that he's in prison right now.
Investigator Paul Newton was deeply disappointed the case wasn't going to trial. What was your reaction to John Carter pleading guilty to involuntary manslaughter?
No, I didn't like it at all. But we could have tried this case. We could have found him guilty. And John would have went the rest of his life saying, I didn't kill Caitlin. With this involuntary manslaughter charge, John has to walk into a Butler County courtroom in front of God and everybody and say, I killed Caitlin.
Paul Newton's tireless pursuit of Caitlin's killer has forged an unbreakable bond between him and Dave Markham. How much gratitude do you have for the team that finally solved this case?
Very grateful. Paul Newton, he was a godsend. You know, without Paul, we wouldn't be sitting here today. He put his heart and soul into solving this.
Caitlin had an amazing future, and she had a lot of passion about the direction she was moving in. What do you think John Carter robbed her of? Life,
Happiness, joy. And John Carter didn't just rob Caitlin. He robbed me of the joy of seeing Caitlin do great things with her art. He took away a lot from a lot of people. Caitlin would have touched so many lives.
But, that's it. Love you.